Welcome to Thriving Rockstar with Alex Rakin. Today's guest is Tracy Lambertucci. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, Alex.
Good,
Thank you
awesome.
for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So, what have you been up to? What have you been up to during this quarantine?
I've been practicing a lot and working out.
Yeah, likewise.
Mostly, I haven't really left the house much. Just to like do a few online shows with one of my bands, and that's it. Grocery shopping.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, not very exciting stuff, but the practicing and the working out has been good.
yeah, I hear that. I mean, grocery shopping could be fun if you have like if you're cooking and getting into that.
I like cooking actually.
Yeah.
This quarantine helped me. Yeah, we're actually me and my brother were baking a lot, so it's been really fun.
What have you been baking?
Everything, cakes, and oh, you have no idea. I'm trying not to do it all every week because it's not great for my macros, but
Oh
it's been
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Oh gosh, my macros are out the window right now.
I know I'm trying to hold on to them, but it's hard, you know.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I hear that. It's tough because I mean, like, I'm training at home here. Do you have a gym there?
Uh, it reopened today, but I'm not going. I don't feel comfortable yet
Okay, I
going
mean, like
there.
at home though.
No. So I just have like dumbbells and like resistance bands and stuff like that. So that's what I've been doing.
That's a gym.
It's been pretty good. I cannot complain. Yeah.
And what kind of like routine have you been doing with that? Like, how have you been doing
Um, so I kept the same one that I had before. So I was doing a 5 day split.
that?
I just had to like modify the exercises so I could do them with lower weights and more body weight.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much the same. So I was doing like chest and triceps, back and biceps, 2 times a week, legs and shoulders on a different day. And then usually Saturday, if I have time, I would do yoga if I feel like better,
Okay. Yeah.
if I'm not too tired. And if not, I would have 2 days off.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it's very bro split.
Yeah, I like it. It works really well for me.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And the fact that you put the yoga in there, to I mean that's important because people,
Yeah.
a lot of people who are into exercise and not into stretching and things like that, it's not a good idea.
I know it makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
And your body feels good.
Yeah.
Like it's been helping a lot.
I mean, like people don't realize how much like if you're trying to grow a muscle, how like stretching and stimulating the fascia
Mhm.
it
Yeah, exactly.
really helps, right?
Yeah.
I just recently um I had this vocal coach on that's also a myofascial release specialist.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to buy a roll. I don't have it at home, but oh my God, it's amazing though.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
really helps.
The one with the teeth.
Yeah. Well, there's a few of them. There's one that don't have the teeth,
Yeah.
that also work.
Sure.
Um, but doing that before start, it's amazing, especially if you have any sort of pain or,
Oh yeah.
anything like that. It really helps.
For sure. I mean, like it's all balance, right? So it's like if you're
Yeah.
super into the heavy lifting, you got to get into the
Yeah.
more the stretching and just counterbalance that. It's
Yeah,
all
you need to take care of your body. If not, it's not gonna respond the same.
yeah. You know what's a weird thing? Right now we're in this time where we have like everyone's staying at home, but there's research showing that there's like 97% or something like that people who have severe symptoms are those that are vitamin D deficient.
Oh, I did not know that actually.
Yeah, this is a big interesting find. And so you could just supplement with that,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
I
and
had no idea about that.
and what's crazy is staying at home, you know, makes that deficiency even more severe.
Yeah, I try to take sun like because I walk my dogs twice a day.
Okay.
So like that's a pretty, I get a little bit of sun every day.
Yeah, I mean you're in
But
California.
it's so easy. Yeah, you just get out of your house and it's beautiful outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, taking a vitamin, it's definitely I take a multivitamin every day, so
Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure
yeah.
I mean, if you're thinking about macros, you probably eat pretty clean.
I do for most of the time. Most of the time I eat pretty good.
I think that's the rule of thumb most of the time, right? So it's like 90
Yeah.
10. you know?
Yeah, I don't think anybody can do it. Like maybe there's some people out there that have 100%, they don't get themselves like out of it, but I cannot do it.
I had a roommate who was a bodybuilder who was like
Oh,
he was like a brown rice like
Oh, chicken.
unseasoned chicken,
Oh,
huge fish in the oven. Like, yeah, he was that kind of bodybuilder, and 6 meals.
oh wow.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not a big proponent of like many small meals. Kind of, I don't think there's
Yeah.
any real science behind that. But
No.
but he just ate so much food that you couldn't eat that comfortably in 3 meals. Like it would
Oh, because
have.
it's too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he was taking down like 4,000 plus. So yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he
no.
was like,
Yeah, I think that's the reason why he split them out.
yeah.
Because like as long as you meet your calories, you can eat them all at once. It's not,
I mean,
you
he's
know.
he's like the kind of guy who like consumes like casein before he goes to sleep, and like that like
Yeah.
those always needs like some like amino acid uptake, like
Wow.
but
Very cool.
yeah, yeah. But I honestly, he wasn't a person that would just like take advice from anybody. He was like really strict on it. I'm like, you could season your food a little bit, in
I
fact.
know, that's not really bad, yeah.
In fact, you can like actually get thermogenic effects if you add like some cayenne and
Yeah, exactly.
you know
Turmeric is really good,
turmeric
especially
is, yeah,
for
it's
the,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I can eat like that. My food is pretty yummy, but like my macros are within, they're not perfect, but they're very, very close.
yeah,
And it's been working so far, so
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I noticed your few shots you put up on Instagram. It's like, okay, okay.
I'm trying. I'm really shy about it, but I'm proud of it because like I lost actually quite a bit of weight for myself. I gained like almost 15, 16 pounds a few years ago. I think you met me. I had those kilos when I met you
Yeah,
in New York. So like I'm proud of it because it really fixed and changed my health.
yeah, yeah. No, you feel that. People don't realize
Yeah.
that like when you lose weight, it's not just like it's not like you're just lighter. You feel like more
Better.
vibrant. Yeah, better.
Yeah. You have energy. And before I
Yeah,
was tired all day. Didn't
yeah,
matter how many hours of sleep I got. I was always tired, grunchy. Now it's like, no, I feel really good.
yeah. So it's
So
really beyond the aesthetics. It's like
it is, yeah.
yeah. In fact, I mean, part of the motivation behind even launching this whole show initially was like really early on, before even getting into coaching, was realizing how much feeling better contributed to me as a musician, having more vitality and putting that
I
out there.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I remember when you started it and then the reason why I got you to do it.
yeah,
And it's pretty good though, especially for musicians when we tour and stuff. It's like when I started touring, I didn't know, and that's why I gained weight because I was out in the road and then there was no vegan food or anything, and I was eating pretty unhealthy and yeah.
yeah. When did you start eating vegan?
So I started 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I started touring 2016. So
Mm-hmm.
like that first year of touring was like every time I landed back in LA, I would get sick. No matter like if I was just like in San Francisco going back, I would just get really sick. And then that was the reason why I started getting into fitness. So I got a gym membership, and then eventually I turned into a trainer
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to know more about it. Not to have to depend on a trainer to tell me what to do and how to eat and stuff like that. That was the reason, because like I was very unhealthy then.
Right.
you know.
And how did you educate yourself like on all this?
So I went to school for it. So
Oh, you
I
did?
have a
Okay.
degree. Yeah. So I'm certified through NASM.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me a while. It shouldn't take you that long. It took me like almost 6, 7 months because I was touring. So I was like studying when I was home, and then, but it's amazing though, especially if you're like really passionate about it.
Oh yeah.
I would recommend doing it.
Yeah. I did some of the ACE health coaching.
Oh, great. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Hmm.
fantastic. It's
Hmm.
really money well invested.
For sure, even just for yourself, for your family,
Yeah,
if you don't
exactly.
even use it somewhere, but that's a
Yeah,
really, it's a good marketable, easy skill.
to know. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, do you do that now? Like, do you have clients for that?
I do. So like when I started it, it was just for me and to help my family because my mom and my uncle, they were a little bit not overweight, but they had a little bit of weight on them.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom had like some health issues, so I did it because of that to help them out too. But now like last year, I started working as a trainer because like I was working gigging at night.
Mm-hmm.
So I had all day to do something. So I started working out at a gym, a 24-hour fitness,
Right.
that it was like a block away. And it was really good. I loved it though. Like I met a lot of people and I worked out every day because I had to be there 5 days a week. So it helped me get in shape faster. It was really good. I still do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I worked at a gym,
Yeah.
at Orangetheory
Oh, good.
Fitness, actually. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. We have Orange Theory here.
Yeah, yeah, that was an interesting thing. Um, Although it's like, it's very class based, so it's not like you could just go in there and just like
Yeah.
lift, but I did anyway.
That's good.
Because as an
I've never
employee,
been to
yeah.
an Orange.
Oh
Oh,
no,
good.
yeah,
No.
they're different. They do like heart rate based training, so everyone wears a heart rate monitor. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I guess I'm giving a shout out to Orange Theory Fitness. Yeah, you wear a heart rate monitor and you train in like 5 zones, and like they actually
Okay.
they you see your heart rate percentage on a screen on top.
Oh,
Everyone,
very
yeah,
cool.
everyone sees it, and then like so there's that accountability, right?
Yeah.
And you can't lie about your heart rate, right? It's there, it's in that
Yeah.
zone or it's not.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it's automatically calculated to be like in this like green zone, blue zone, red zone.
Oh, very cool. I need
Yeah,
to try that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. They get. I think they do a free class. So
I should try it. Yeah. I
yeah,
have heard of it, but I have never like been there or anything like that.
yeah, yeah. No, it's really cool. So that's interesting. Yeah, like when you were touring, how did you have? Well, when you started touring, you weren't vegan. Um,
No, vegetarian though.
you were vegetarian.
Yeah.
Okay, and how did you eat when you were vegetarian? Like on tour?
Um, so it's pretty easy though, like because like it's pretty much like now. But like I could have dairy, like before eggs. So it was a little bit easier. In terms of like, for example, like I remember when I was in Kansas, they didn't even know what vegan was. They thought I could eat fish
Mm,
or like dairy. And I was like, no, 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 like there's literally no animal product. But they didn't really understand what it was.
yeah,
But they have like veggie burgers and stuff like that, but they have cheese on it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's definitely easier if you're vegetarian.
yeah. Yes.
But I feel 100 times better when I transition into a vegan
Okay.
lifestyle.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, like I've had Ray Hearn on the show. You know Ray Hearn? That's drummer
No.
of Haken.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and
I know
so
Hagen.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So their drummer Ray Hearn, he's also vegan. Actually, 3 of the members I think are vegan. Um,
Very cool.
yeah, yeah. So when they travel, he told me how they sort of maintain that, and like they get certain things on the rider, and then going to vegan restaurants, like they use that opportunity to find cool places.
Oh, that's really good. It's easier when you have another person in the band that is vegan. I'm
Mm,
usually the only one. So
right.
like I feel bad sometimes because like my band members are really friendly and they're really good and they're like, "Oh, let's find a place where you can eat." But, I'm like, "Well, I'll eat whatever, a salad or I remember Kansas I ate potatoes. Like that's all it was.
Oh.
But it's easier if you have buddy or another person, then
Yeah.
you can like adventure in the city or something, try to find a good place to eat.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And there's plenty of interesting eats if you're in like major metropolitan areas usually.
Yeah, that's fun. Like the problem here in the US is like the middle of it when it's very rural.
Mm,
That is definitely more challenging.
yeah. Do you have any
Yeah.
flexibility in that, or you're very strict about it?
I try not to. If I had to, I could eat a little bit of cheese, but like I haven't had it in a long time I know I will feel better. Like my body would not react the same.
Right.
Um, yeah. So like even a few months ago, a friend got me a coffee and he forgot to like add because he's vegan too, so he forgot to ask for non-dairy milk. And he gave it to me and I drank it and I felt really bad and I felt like somehow I got like food poisoning. But then later we found out that it was the coffee. So that's how bad it like settles on me.
Right. I mean, you stop producing enzymes that break that down,
Yeah.
and
So
so
it makes it very intolerable.
yeah, yeah. No, I can see that, and also, I mean, like, from what I've come to understand, just basic milk in this country is not good quality. Um,
Yeah.
I've been buying
I
raw.
would try to avoid it.
I've been buying raw milk actually.
Oh, how is that?
Yeah, I literally just an hour ago I came back from a farm where I pick it up
Oh,
directly.
oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's amazing, and it's something that people who are lactose intolerant often have no problems with.
Okay, because
Unfortunately,
it has,
yeah. Go ahead.
oh, because it's just pure raw. Like it doesn't have any type of
Well,
how do you call it?
here's the thing: milk, when you homogenize it, when you like heat it,
Uh-huh.
they heat it because they apparently it's like they get rid of the chance that there's some kind of like microorganisms, that there's some kind of
Hmm.
bacteria like salmonella or something, right?
Yeah.
But if you monitor the cows, you closely, you test them regularly, then their milk should be fine. And when you have raw milk, it still has the enzymes that are there to break down that milk. And when you heat it,
Oh,
you kill those enzymes, and then your body
I
doesn't have a
got it.
mechanism to break it down. So
Mm,
yeah, so I like that, the raw milk, and it's such a beautiful farm. They treat their cows so well. There's no
that's
fences.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that though.
yeah. So
Yeah, because it
it's a
can definitely be pretty, like the industry of it, the dairy industry is not. Well, you know about it.
of
That's why you
course,
go
of
to a
course.
good farm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. I go local. I go local.
Good, very
Yeah,
good.
and they have all kinds of products. They have raw milk cheeses. They have from a neighboring farm. They have some meat,
Wow.
which is like pasture raised, friendly to animals, right? As friendly to animals
Yeah.
as you're gonna get in that in those ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's always a personal choice, right?
Yeah.
I've experimented with it. I found it wasn't for me particularly, but it's something that a lot of people are doing successfully. But anyone who's doing that, I'd recommend having just like making sure their nutrition's in place and that they're covering all the
Yeah.
bases. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's pretty critical. So, um, yeah. So back when, so you've been touring these few years, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and in what kind of project? Like, how is it? Was it your own band, or was it a band that you sort of came on with, or how is it? Mhm,
So I've been in different tours. So all of
mhm,
them I have been. So I'm a freelance musician, and
mhm,
then I don't have okay, so how to explain it? So I'm a side musician. So I
mhm,
get hired for like original bands, and that's how I have been touring.
mhm.
So my first tour actually took me to Nashville. So I auditioned here in California. Somehow I got it. I was very surprised because I'm foreign. I'm not from the US. And then
Mhm.
at that time I was just coming straight out of MI. So I had no idea anything. I was very green. I didn't know country music or anything like that, but they gave me an opportunity and I flew to Nashville and met them and then we got along and then that was my first big tour. We went all over the US. It was really fun. And then after that, every tour that I have had has been with like original artists, and it's been really fun. And right now, I'm in another pop country band that it sounds more pop than country, but we also tour a lot. And then I have done very, very fun shows with them. And they are actually, I'm a band member this time,
That's
so
good.
it's a little different. Yeah,
Do you have creative input?
yeah, we write together, and then I love that because I like to write music, but I didn't get the chance to do it before with the other bands. So I was just a hired musician for them.
Sure. So, what was your idea initially? So, you came to the States to study at MI, right?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
From where?
From Venezuela,
From Venezuela.
Caracas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so you came to study at MI, and what was your plan? Did you have any particular like trajectory in your mind, like what you would do after school, or you're? Mhm.
Not really. So actually, we came here on a trial basis because we also got accepted to Berkeley in
Oh,
Boston.
okay, yeah.
And I always had my heart set on Berkeley. But my music teachers back home told me like, hey, Boston is really cold, and then the industry is not in Boston, so you're gonna have to move. And then they gave me some advice. So we're like, okay, I wasn't really sold on LA because I've heard like that it was like a fake city or stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'll come and try it for 6 months with my brother, and we really liked it. The first 3 months were a little tough because we were learning English and all this stuff, but I liked it. I have met like the most genuine people here. I don't think it's depends on what type of circle of people you
Right.
are in. Thankfully, I found good people that surrounds me, so I don't feel that this it's a bad place or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
actually pretty good. Yeah,
I didn't get that vibe when I travel to LA. Meet people at
good.
NAM and stuff like that. But then again, NAM is everyone from everywhere.
Exactly. Though most of my friends are actually, I have very few American friends, believe it or not. Like most of them are like from Europe or like Asia, like
Hmm.
South America. I like that. I like that I have friends from all over the world. So it makes it feel very inclusive, you know.
Yeah. Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, music is a universal language, right? It
It
brings
is.
people
Yeah, I
together.
completely agree.
Do you teach at all?
I used to. I haven't because I not well for a lack of time though. So I
Hmm.
have been mostly live gigging, doing like live shows and stuff, and that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just between learning songs and then if you're just traveling or driving, it just takes most of the day.
Mm.
But yeah, I would like to get into it now that the music scene stopped somehow. It might be a good time to start again.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So right now it's kind of slow, right? You said you played one like show like on Zoom.
No, so we have done actually quite a few. We did two big festivals. We did Stagecoach, but online.
Mm.
Before because or their plan was to actually have the actual festival in October. So we were asked to do like the online version while they put together the big festival in October, which got canceled 2 days ago, by the way.
Oh no.
But we did that one, and then we did Jam in the Van, like a Cinco de Mayo festival. So we have been pretty busy on that. But like actual music scene, like traveling, touring, that's all canceled for the year.
So,
So the only thing that
mhm.
is open is like bars and really small venues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually yesterday I went and I ate at a restaurant, sat outside.
How was it?
It
Was it
was
exciting?
amazing. I felt like a person.
I haven't done that yet. My birthday's on Monday, so maybe we'll go out and eat somewhere
There you go.
Monday. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, I recommend it. So you feel like a little bit more like things are a little bit back to normal, you know.
I know.
Although right now is far from normal, this craziness.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think this. I don't even think it will go back to normal. I can't imagine it going back to the way things were before.
Well, not completely, but hopefully to some
Yeah,
major
to some
degree.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, there's crazy things happening. Like, I actually just half hour before we started up here, I just found out that I think in Seattle or somewhere in Washington, maybe in Seattle, like there's like a kind of some neighborhoods that have like declared themselves a separate country and are guarding their area with machine guns. Like,
What?
yeah, there's some
I
there's some
what?
crazy shit going on.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. This year has been so bizarre, though, in
Very
every
bizarre.
possible way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I need to read about that though.
I
I
seen a fu-
haven't.
I seen a funny meme calendar, right? That
Uh-huh.
kind of like said everything that happened up until this point, but then kept going. And then in like
Oh,
November, it has like aliens invading. Like,
that could possibly be. Did you read the UFO news that nobody paid
no,
attention on? It was like what in April? Like the NASA released like these videos of like really old UFO footage,
right,
but like it wasn't really a big deal because everybody was like worried about the pandemic.
right. So they just kind of snuck it out, just like, oh, this is
Yeah,
public now.
like hey, they actually exist. Nobody care. It's like, oh great.
Yeah, I mean, I most people have like watched, let's say, those episodes on Joe Rogan, where he has those
I
people
love
on.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Rogan's
Yeah.
awesome. Big influence here. But yeah, I mean, having, you know, who knows what's gonna happen? But like, yeah, it's been an insane year. I want to travel again. Like that's,
Me too.
yeah, I'm a big
I
traveler,
know.
and it's yeah.
Yeah, being like actually we have a trip coming, well, two trips coming up. So I'm leaving Tuesday, but we have a trip to Nashville coming in July.
Okay.
And I'm actually excited to get on the plane. I'm like, oh, like I don't like flying, but I'm looking for it. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
I want to get inside that plane and feel like I'm not, you know, in this. Yeah.
I had plans to go to Asia during this time, and then that sort of fell
Oh,
apart. Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
it's okay. I've been there a lot, so
That's good.
yeah. No, I feel more at home in some ways when I'm like in Chiang Mai than I do in New York, in
Oh,
north
that's interesting.
in northern Thailand. Like it's so nice. It's it's a very friendly there, very nice people, and great food. It's very cheap. Yeah.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to go to town. I have never been to Asia actually.
Oh yeah, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I would
I
love to
recommend
go.
that in particular. Yeah, Southeast Asia is beautiful and delicious.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
should have a lot of vegan stuff there.
Oh, plenty. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, they have a lot of Buddhism. Like,
Yeah.
Thailand is a Buddhist country primarily. And so there's a lot of vegetarians and subsequently a lot of vegans. But there are also
Mm.
keto places. There's literally
Oh.
keto supermarkets. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, can you imagine? Right? They have things we don't have in regards to like specialty diets and stuff. That's,
Wow, that's insane. Yeah, I'm not really crazy about the keto
well, you wouldn't be,
lifestyle.
no.
No, I don't really think, I think it's, if it works for people, that's great.
Yeah.
I like my carbs, so
Yeah, no, I hear that. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it'd be very tough to go keto and be vegan, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen
No,
people
yeah,
do it.
I believe it, yeah. But
It's a lot of coconut oil and like
oh yeah, no, I'm good.
coconut
I
milk.
don't think it's for me. I like
Yeah,
coconut milk.
coconut milk's
That I
great.
don't mind.
I mean, if you're
Yeah,
in
it's really good.
Thailand, you can get a tom kha or some different soups over there that have the coconut milk in them. It's so good.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
need to give me some spots if we end up going to Thailand. That would be great.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Hit me up on that if you
I will
need
for
some
sure.
specific advice on where to go. And I'm at this point, I've been to Thailand like 8 times, so it's like, you know,
Oh, very
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. My ex was there, so
Oh, I
yeah,
yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think I saw something
yeah,
about it.
but
Okay.
yeah, that's no longer a thing. But um,
I'm sorry.
it's all good.
It's been a year. I feel
It's
you.
so, um, as far as like what other hobbies do you have like outside of music?
Actually, my training will be my biggest hobby, I think.
Yeah.
I like to learn languages. I'm learning French and Portuguese.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love. I speak three. So I speak Spanish, Italian, and English. And
Mm.
I was studying French for a little bit, but I wanted to like be more fluent. So I started again, and then a lot of people from Brazil and Portugal follow me on Instagram. So I was like, I want to speak to them. They speak me in Portuguese, and I just say obrigada. It's like great. So I'm learning. I started a few months ago, and it's been so fun.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's
Yeah,
it's great to speak the language of your fans.
it helps a lot to connect.
Of
I feel more
course,
connected
of
that way.
course. Like I see Marty Friedman talking to his fans like in
Japanese,
Japanese,
yeah,
English, and Spanish.
that's fantastic. I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much Spanish he speaks, but he's definitely fluent in Japanese. He's lived there for a long time.
Yeah, I think isn't he married? Right,
Yeah, I'm sure.
Marty? Like I think isn't his wife Japanese?
I I
Maybe it's Paul Gilbert. Maybe I'm
I,
confused.
I probably he's probably married to a Japanese woman because I mean he's lived there since the 90s, so it's been a
Yeah,
long
probably.
yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. He dresses very Japanese and everything.
It's a very rich culture. It's
I'm glad he grew back his hair because
yeah, I know. I agree.
like he had like this long phase of like having like shoulder length hair. I'm like, no, dude, you got to let the whole like mane
Yeah,
grow out because like
it's not the same. Yeah,
you ever seen that melodic control video?
yeah.
Yeah, and so
It's a
like
classic. Yeah.
yeah, it's a classic, and he has this like long hair. Yeah,
Well, what year? That was like the 80s, right?
that was like
Probably
I think it was like early 90s, but
early. Imagine. Yeah.
yeah, but like he had like this majestic like long curly hair, and so he got that back. It's good.
That's good. It's like Petrucci. Like he looks good with short hair too, but I like the long hair.
Yeah, the long hair is better. Remember that
It's
phase,
better.
like the short phase that he had his hair kind of straight?
Yes, I do remember. I have seen John like going through all the different since I met like I first got introduced to Dream Theater. He has
Yeah.
had so many different looks. You know
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
back in
like
like 2005, he had like the little short spiky hair.
yeah, the spiky hair.
That's the Budokan
That's
era.
that's
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
Budokan, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I like it now. He looks like very mature. The big
yeah.
beard and then the big hair. It's like okay.
And the big him.
He's huge.
He's like
And
full bear now. Like,
pretty big build. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's funny that there's a guy that came out and started to like make those meme videos of him. Like where they
Um.
they give him this like kind of voice.
Oh
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I know his voice doesn't really like match his body though, but he has changed a lot because at the
Yeah.
beginning he was very skinny.
Yeah, yeah, he was pretty thin like in the 90s, and then I think
Exactly.
steadily from the early 2000s he just started to put on more muscle every year.
I
And
know.
yeah.
The guns started getting bigger and bigger.
Oh
You're like,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I know.
No, it's then that's one thing I actually spoke to him about at that barbecue,
Oh,
right?
you did?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I spoke to him, about his training routine and, protein, everything, all kinds of stuff, right? And
Yeah.
well, I had maybe just, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. I spoke to him about like, he said he was like doing this little kind of dieting routine with Mangini, kind of like,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, yeah, buddying up on their like previous tour that year. It was at 2017. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I seen them this past year at where did I see them? Well, in Long Island.
Oh, very cool. I saw
Yeah.
them three times, 2019.
Oh yeah.
I went to every single show. They had two in LA, and then they had one, I think it was like Irvine,
Mm-hmm.
like an hour away. And I was like, I'm gonna go see them as well.
Yeah. I mean, their
It was
chops.
amazing.
Their chops are better than ever. Like it's amazing.
I know, and they're like in their like
They're.
James is like in her 60, in 60, right?
Is James 60 now?
Or close to 60, like really late 50s,
Yeah,
maybe
he's like late 50s. Petrucci is like 51,
50.
52. So
Yeah,
yeah, something like that. Um.
it's amazing though. And then
Yeah.
they played for like 3 hours because they were
Oh
doing
yeah.
scenes from a memory,
Yeah.
the whole
Oh, I
like
had
the
to see that.
two.
Yeah.
It was that's my favorite
Me
album
too. Me
ever.
too. Me too.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I was crying. Oh my God. It was very emotional for me when I saw them doing it. I was like, oh my God.
Actually, that album, like I came to a friend's house, and my friend put on this album, right? Well, actually, he put on scenes from New York, like
Oh,
the live DVD. And at the
yes.
time, I was into Metallica, Megadeth. I was a thrash head, and yeah, and then he played this, and I've never heard like metal and thrash and stuff incorporated into something that's just so technically
Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
and so
I
it
know.
blew my mind like instantly. And then Spirit Carries On and all of this, and it's like, oh my god, like
I know.
like
That song,
yeah,
that solo, it's like, I know. It
yeah,
makes me, I don't know, feel
my
warm inside when I hear it.
my hair's standing thinking about
See, I'm glad we
it.
understand each other. I
Yeah,
have so much love for them, and they're huge on the metal scene, but I don't
yeah,
think like they should be bigger, for how
it's
amazing their music is.
you either know them and you realize and know how big they are, or you have no idea who they
Yeah,
are, like
exactly. There's no middle ground like
no,
Metallica, like some
yeah,
people heard the name, but like they don't really know them. Yeah, you either know Dream Theater or you don't.
right, you either know them or you don't, right.
Yeah,
um
exactly.
I mean, some people sort of like have this know them in this way. It's like, oh yeah, those guys, they do too much, or like, so, but they haven't really
Yeah,
listened or sat down, like
yeah.
just kind of like
It
peripheral view.
it takes a while. Like I remember when I first started listening to them, I was like, "Oh, this is cool," but it
Hmm.
took me like a few years to actually really appreciate like understanding what they were doing, because at the beginning, if you don't really understand, you think, "Oh, it's just a lot of notes," or "Why is this like so complicated? Why does it have to sound like that?"
So
But
what?
it's like
Mhm.
they're magicians, though. It's
Oh
amazing.
yeah, it's really amazing. I mean, you're so obviously Petrucci is up there for you, but what other guitar players or other musicians, for that matter, do you call your influences?
So Guthrie Govan is like up there as
Hmm.
well. More currently, Mateus Asato. I
Hmm.
love him. I think
Yeah.
like I haven't really seen like somebody that like I don't know, like there's something about the way he plays that just moves me. Everything that he does like moves me in a different way. Like and not necessarily John's music is like that, like he has a lot of technical stuff, but Mateo's like every arrangement he does, I'm like I just want to cry. It's like beautiful.
Yeah.
And like Andre Nier, it's like I love him. He's so I don't know if you know him. You probably do.
Andre Nier?
Yeah.
I don't think I do. I'll check him out.
Okay. You need to check him out. There's another Another Day by Dream Theater.
Yeah,
You know that song.
of course.
Okay, so I first saw Andre because he recorded a cover of that solo. you need to see it. It's mind blowing. Like his technique, I
Hmm.
have never seen something like that. It's like he destroyed that John Petrucci solo.
Yeah.
That's how good he is. And I don't think I've ever seen somebody destroy a Dream Theater song. It's like, ugh,
Actually, what's that guy's name? Steven Toronto. Do you know who that is?
no,
Oh man.
I need to go.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. He's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. He plays right now. He plays Tosin's guitars. You know.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Tozin is
yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
So I think he's one of Tosin's endorsees.
Wow.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. And he uses crazy stretches, right? And like,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
insane.
yeah. And I mean, if you listen to him play, it's just it's like I've never heard I never heard anyone pick that good, right? It's like
Wow.
yeah, he's just one of those monster pickers.
With crazy techniques.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And what's his name? Of course, Jason, Jason
Yeah,
Richardson.
he
Yeah,
is ridiculous. Yeah, he's
yeah,
like a machine.
yeah. Like
And he's super technical. I never got into his music too much.
mhm.
Maybe I need to give it another try. But he's amazing. Like
Yeah,
technique wise, he's just
exactly.
a
Yeah,
monster. Yeah.
likewise. His music's interesting, but I didn't find myself kind of listening to it regularly.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy like hearing clips of him play and stuff like that because it's
It's
quite
amazing.
remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing. One thing I picked up from him, and this is a very technical guitar thing, he doesn't sweep. Well, he doesn't do any sweeps where he has to kind of do like a rolling thing with his finger.
Oh, so
He
he frets in a way that he doesn't have to go
he actually like
adjusting.
he like let's say the major arpeggio that's like a 5 string arpeggio, right? That
Uh-huh.
has the three. He'll just use
Yeah.
1 2 1 for that.
Oh.
And so
And that way he's able to do
yeah,
it
he like
faster.
pushes his fingers out of the way. Oh, he's able to play them cleaner without bleed. So
Wow.
I've been practicing that. I've been sort of giving that a shot. It's been interesting.
Is it changing? Like, do you feel that it's like
Yeah, it's cleaner.
he's onto something? Good.
Yeah,
Very
I
cool.
mean, he's not the first person to kind of to do that. But it's definitely a good technique. It's a good thing to do to to clean things up a little bit. And it's a very technical guitar thing. but
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that's a very helpful thing. And I've seen him play theater thing. I've seen him play this dying soul solo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I
Like at
I need to check him out.
the outro to that, like
Yes.
he played the outro and it's right on point. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
like that, it's funny that section of that song, just the end of this dying soul. I've always used that to hit PRs, like yeah,
I love that song.
because it's so like
My
it
God.
boils up so much energy at
Yes.
the end that like when it goes into like keyboard solo,
Yeah.
you know, I just I just
It's
enrage.
just a good energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you.
And for me, I mean, if I'm going for like a big deadlift, like that's what I need to put on.
I work out to Dream Theater.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
it's great workout music.
It is.
It
It
works for
is.
me. Yeah.
And Marco Sfoyi.
Marco. Say
Marco,
his last name again?
it's Sfolgi. Sfogli.
No, I
The
don't think I know him.
Italian player. He was he's the guitar player on Elements of Persuasion, James LeBree's solo album.
Oh, I haven't heard that album actually.
Great album. And he's an awesome player. Really, really great
Oh
player.
wow, I need to check him out.
Yeah, he's a cross between Petrucci and Andy Timmons.
Oh, Andy's amazing. I need to
Yeah.
listen to that album then.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with Andy on this show. Like that was
I need to see it. I haven't seen that episode. I will
yeah.
like after we're done, like
Yeah, check it out. Check it
while I
out.
eat lunch.
Yeah, no, he goes into some interesting things. It's the only interview I did where I had someone sitting with an instrument. He actually sat with his
Oh,
guitar. Yeah, yeah, I didn't expect that. I don't know. Maybe he expected something different. I don't know.
well, I
But
think you can take the guitar away from Andy though. Like, right?
yeah,
It's
no,
kind of
no,
like
it's like
glued to him.
yeah, it's glued on him. And as he
Yeah.
was chatting, sometimes like to express some idea, he like played something. Like
Take it.
yeah,
That's amazing. I
yeah.
want to get to that point. Maybe in a few years.
Yeah, like I mean, especially when you're just talking about is like old stuff, and like we're talking about specific things. Like when we just discussed our arpeggio thing, I would like
Yeah.
actually play it, and so it was an interesting experience, having that. But people who are not watching and they're that are just listening, because a lot of people just listen to this.
Oh, so it doesn't really, yeah.
It doesn't. Well, I mean, you still hear it, so.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Very cool.
yeah, I know. But that yeah, it's a very interesting thing. I'm curious to sort of like how you like to talk about like on things on like the business and social media side a little bit.
Yeah,
So you manage your social media pretty well.
I do. Thank you. I'm learning every day. I enjoy it. It's been fun for me.
And what's your approach to it? Like, how do you, at this point, what do you do?
So actually, I started it because at that time I was going through like some emotional, like personal stuff, and I
Mm,
was not practicing. It was
mm,
affecting my music side. So I
mm,
needed some sort of like, like how you take progress pictures. I needed something to keep me accountable. So I opened an Instagram. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna record videos, and then hopefully I'll see them next year, and then I'll feel motivated. Oh, I made progress. It was a tool for me to help me to get back into practicing.
mm-hmm.
And I never expected like, and it's not big. What is 222 20 something like that. I'm still growing it, but it started just like that, just for me, and it's still like that. I work out, and every song that I learn I record for Instagram. So I it's like killing two birds. Wait, is it one bird with two stones?
Two birds with one stone.
um Two birds with one stone, that's the thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
But you're
that's like
vegan.
my
You don't
focus
you
on
don't
it.
kill birds.
Well, make a bird dizzy.
Softly hit it where
Yeah,
it
but that
doesn't
doesn't
inflict
hit
much
it.
pain.
Exactly. Or just like caress the bird. I don't
Caress,
know.
yeah, yeah. Pet two birds with one stone.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how I see it. Like I know some people are just like focused on like growing the number and then reaching views or stuff.
Mm,
I don't do it like that. I just do it because like I'm learning this really cool song, and I want, and there's something that I have found out. Even if you learn a very complicated song or any song, you don't really have it until you try to record it.
mm-hmm.
Then you really realize like, oh, is it really clean? Like, can you actually perform without any noise? And it's been helping my playing tremendously, because like I can, oh, you can learn as a tranny song, great, but can you record it? That's a different thing. So that's something that has been helping me. I'm like, okay, I learned this dream theater thing. Can I record it? No, not really. It needs more practice.
Yeah, I hear that.
So that's how I've been doing it, yeah, so far.
Yeah, I have this thing I call recording syndrome. I'll have something perfect, but then
Uh-huh.
start rolling, and that's it. It's like it's never practiced it. I keep messing it up
Oh,
because it's just like it's the red light, that like it's recording, and it's just like you're too like,
yeah.
yeah, um,
It also helps to keep you zen. It's like,
yeah,
let go of the anxiety.
and
Yeah, that little red light.
it's very important, like what you said, the accountability.
Yeah,
I've been live streaming now for what 114 days straight.
that's impressive.
Yeah, and I didn't have a plan to do it this long. I just kind of like started doing it. I was like, well,
Those are the best things.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then a week later, I was like, I was still doing it, and it didn't feel like work. And
Isn't
yeah,
that good?
yeah. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? What happens if I keep doing this? And then I started to number the days. Day one, rather day 8, day 9, day 10, and so on, And yeah, day 114 or 115 today. It's funny because you would
Wow.
think if you do something every day, you sort of know what day you're on. But every time, every day when I go to live stream, I go on my Facebook wall and I'm like, I scroll down like, well, what was the last day?
Oh, wow.
I lose track and I'm like, okay, there it is. At first, it was only guitar work, and I would just jam out. At first, it was kind of long, like 2 hours, or something. But then like I started
Wow.
to do like maybe half an hour, and then some days I kind of talk about more other stuff like diet stuff, training stuff.
Oh, very cool.
Um, uh,
That's amazing.
yeah, and it's just been a great tool for accountability.
Yeah, I need to tune in. Are you doing it today as well? You are.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll tune in. Yeah, that's
Tune in.
fantastic.
That's on Facebook, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
Facebook. Yeah.
that's on Facebook. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing. I'll transition it to. I just have more of like a base on Facebook. I have like a larger number of people that are there, so I just kind of do it there.
Oh, cool.
But on Instagram, yeah, I'll probably start kind of bringing it more towards that because I mean, more people.
Instagram Live.
Yeah, Instagram
Yeah.
Live, more people are there. For sure. And as far as the like, well, the other aspects of social media, like, you know, because there's a lot of interaction. There's always, you know, floods
Yeah.
of people. You know,
Yes.
do you try to answer everything, or how do you approach that?
I try. So like every time I post, I said to myself, okay, I'm always, because they take time to like say something nice to you. Like I need to take time to like reply to them. So I always try to reply to everybody that comments on my post. But a lot of people DM me and it gets really hard. Like when I reply to 10, they reply back and then there's more 10 and I can't keep up.
Right.
That's why I've been telling people like, hey, if you need something from me, like some people are asked for collaborations and stuff and I don't see it
Right.
because like it's just like DMs are really hard for me to keep track. I'm not good at it. But like everything else I try to like always like my friends post and comment on it, you know, like because it's sharing love, you know,
Of
they share it
course.
for you. You should like be reciprocate. And because it's genuine, like I really support my friends and then they support me. So that's how I see that.
Yeah.
I need to get better at that DMing thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Hopefully.
people do it
It's
in
a
different
rough.
ways. Yeah, it's a little tough, right? I mean, do you have the two different DM? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
primary and general.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's too hard. Like, yeah. Especially I think being a girl, that doesn't really help. Like there's
No, you get
yeah, I
inundated
know.
probably with a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's not my favorite thing. I don't really like to open DMs on Instagram.
I hear that. I hear that. But
Yeah.
that's often like where, you know, like a lot of business takes place in DMs today.
That is true, yeah. And then yeah, even dating.
Yeah.
The last person I dated, like he DM'd me on Instagram, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. It's just it's really hard to keep up, you know, like but I try like at least a few a day, try to reply on it.
Yeah, yeah. No, it could be tough. Like some people, they set a window of time to like kind of like
That's a
do
good
that.
idea.
Like let's say you post and then it's okay. The next half hour, I'm gonna just, you know,
Reply.
yeah,
I should do that though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, like people who are on the level of like, I don't know, people who have like millions.
Yeah, Mateo. Like,
Yeah, like
yeah, I
Mateo.
don't
Yeah,
think he can.
yeah. No, no. Like he probably responds to, let's say, 10 or 15. You know, and
Yeah.
that's it. You know, like he,
It's really hard. Yeah. The bigger the account goes, it's crazy. It
yeah.
gets really, yeah.
Yeah, and then people, you know, what they people wonder why. Oh, why do they have like this VIP thing? It's like, well, because I can't possibly get to everybody.
Reply. Exactly.
Yeah,
I think most people know if you're like into social media in any way, you kind of know what to expect. You know, like when I have like, I always message, like I comment on Petrucci. I know he's not going to see it most of the time, but you don't take it personally. You're like, oh, he has hundreds of thousands of people that are like saying he's amazing. It's like, okay,
yeah,
you know, you kind of know what to expect.
yeah. And I honestly, like, people forget it's social media,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Exactly.
you have to be social.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I like it, you know. It has its downs and stuff, but it has pretty good. It has only brought good things to me. At least Instagram. I don't really do Facebook. I try not to check it even, not to open it. But Instagram it's fun. For
Yeah.
me, it's really fun.
You know, I've been kind of contemplating this one thing from social media perspective, like people who are trying to spread themselves to, you know, all the different social media and try to run them all equally. That's a lot of
Uh,
work, right?
it's
And
hard, yeah.
it's hard, and it might be less fruitful than actually just putting all your eggs in one
Into one,
basket
yeah.
for a while. And then once you build a following, then you can be like, hey guys, follow
I'm
me.
here too.
Yeah, follow me there. You know, follow me here.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing is if you're really doing it correctly, you can't just do the same exact thing on all of them.
No, they don't. I wish they could like translate. I'm actually starting on YouTube and it doesn't translate out because you have 20,000 here doesn't mean you're going to have it on YouTube, you know?
No.
So you need to be just, I don't do it for the numbers. I do it for fun. I post it and it's like, great. If you follow me, great. If you don't, you
Yeah.
know,
I mean, one
but
thing I figured out, if I have like a YouTube video that I need to promote, right? If I post, let's say I post a clip of it on Instagram, and
Mhm.
then if I actually put a promoted thing on it, you know, so then it like
Oh,
it sends a link directly to the video. And so I can literally kind of funnel people directly from Instagram to YouTube
oh,
to a
I have
video.
never done that. I
Yeah,
should do that.
yeah, it's not a bad idea if you want to kind of get it started. And also, I mean, you could just keep like once in a while telling your fans like, "Hey, follow me on YouTube," and then put the link in your bio and all of that. You know.
I should definitely. I'm gonna take you up on that.
All right, I'll check.
Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you'll see it. I'm pretty good at this thing. Pretty diligent.
That's
I'll
good.
get on
That's
it
good.
today.
Do you follow Gary V?
No, actually,
Follow Gary
I
V.
should.
Yeah, Gary V is that's Gary VEE. Gary
Mhm.
Vaynerchuk. He has I don't know, like millions of followers, but like he's like one of the biggest guys with the best social media advice out there, right? And
Oh wow.
yeah. So he's really great to follow. He has just content upon content of just really quality stuff helping people out. So
Very good.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll check it out for sure.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, that's what this, that, you know, I try to spread the love on this show. Like, you know,
I feel you.
although some people aren't like into that for some reason, they're like, they think that, you know, some secret's going to get out. You know, it's like there is
Oh
no
no.
secret here. Where people think, you know, there are a subset of musicians who are in a competitive mindset.
Ah, yes. Good thing that you mentioned it.
Yeah.
I do not understand why that is even a thing. How can you compare yourself to a whole different person that does a whole different thing than you?
Yeah.
And that eventually just brings a lot of like bad, what you end up feeling bad or like feeling down or gives you anxiety. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Here's the reality. It's not like we're selling a product that is, you know, replaceable by another product, right?
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's unique. We're unique,
Yeah.
and if you're a fan of one musician, doesn't mean you can't be fan of another musician as well, right?
Exactly. That's
Uh,
the beauty of it.
yes, yes. So this is a collaborative instrument, and building what
Yeah.
each other up will help everybody. That's how I look
I
at it.
know exactly. I feel like that. There's a lot of people that feel like their resources are very limited and they're not. The more you help and then the more you try to lift others, the bigger you're gonna be. Like you're gonna feel better.
Right.
I know, I completely agree. I see it a lot though. There's
Hmm.
a lot of jealousy and stuff in the music industry, and that doesn't. I try not to see it,
Right. Yeah.
not to pay attention to it.
I mean, it's not going to be helpful for your own psyche, you know, to focus on that.
No,
Nor it
no,
is, you know, nor is it going to get you anywhere, you know.
exactly. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an important thing. I feel like we should, you know, focus more on collaboration, working together,
Yeah.
you know. And this is a general statement for working
Yeah.
together and not working against one another. Yeah.
I know, in every
Yeah.
aspect.
In every aspect.
Yeah.
So, but that's the one thing when I started the show, for example, I was like, well, I was one of the few people in the space of health music, right? Like
Yeah.
combining the
That
two
is true. Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And now there's others. And rather than thinking like, oh man, those are my competition, no, I interviewed them.
Good. Very good. So you learn from them, and then they
Yeah.
learn from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the, you know, like for example, I've had Rusty Osborne on the show, an amazing health coach.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's very cool. And he, you know, we spoke a lot about, you know, many different topics that we nerd out on, like about like, you know, showers and, you know, and gut health and like all this like random stuff, you know.
Gut health is important.
Oh,
I
gut
feel
health
you.
is so important.
So important. Yeah.
Do you do things to ensure your gut health? Do you eat
So I have
fermented foods?
learned. I try. I have learned a lot. Actually, I started drinking kombucha
Oh, I love
recently.
kombucha.
And I actually like the taste of it, but I
Me too.
didn't know like all the benefits from it. And
Hmm.
there's also a friend of mine at the gym that he had a really rough, like he had accidents and problems with his gut, and he had a lot of health issues. And then
Mm,
he has been teaching me a lot from it.
yeah.
Besides the kombucha thing, like
Right.
probiotics and all this stuff that I
Yeah.
had no idea
Yeah.
how important they were.
Accidents with your gut doesn't sound pleasant.
No, he had like physical, like car accident. He broke his back.
Oh, seriously. Okay.
But on top of that, he had like gut issues. He had so many different things, and that's why he became a trainer.
Right. Right.
So I'm learning a lot from him. His name is James. But
Okay.
I don't know if you'll see it, but
Yeah. No. But so that's it's interesting. With I find like, from what I'm reading that you should have some like fermented food with every meal. Um,
Yeah,
mhm.
that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, like sort of like everything. Coleslaw could be. I love
Mm.
kimchi. Um,
Oh,
yeah. Have you had kimchi?
no, I should
Oh.
try it.
So
Look at your face. You're like, yeah.
yeah. So next time you go to the market, like whatever supermarket, look for kimchi.
Okay.
It's you like spicy?
A little bit,
A little bit?
very little.
Okay.
Mm.
So it's a little spicy, but you can get one that's a little bit more mild, right? But it's really good. It's tasty. It's like a fermented cabbage, right?
Okay.
And yeah, kombucha. Oh my god, I love
I
kombucha.
know.
I have buy bottles this big. The GTS
Oh,
one.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm drinking one a day.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I got it from a friend. Like he
yeah,
got me hooked on it, and
oh
it's
yeah,
actually I like it. I feel better by drinking it.
yeah.
So
Oh, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Like I think the ginger berry is my favorite flavor of that.
mm.
Try that
I
one.
like the trilogy one.
The
It's really
trilogy, yeah, the
good.
trilogy one's good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
like the color of the
really.
bottle.
It's great, right?
Yeah,
Very inclusive. Yeah.
yeah, it's a rainbow bottle. Yeah, no, kombucha's a good thing. But back on the career stuff, right? Gut health is important for your career.
It is
Uh,
important.
yeah, I mean, it's part of a lot of things. People don't realize that a lot of disease
Yeah.
starts in the gut.
Exactly.
If not all disease starts in the gut. Like
Mm.
from no, don't take that as medical advice, obviously, but it could be, yeah, it's a very good thing to get taken care of. But did you when you came out of school, did you like get an agent? Like, how did you go about like finding work, or did they help you?
Actually, I got really lucky. Remember that tour I told you about?
Yeah,
So I got that when I was on the last quarter. So I was not
nice.
quite finished with school. And then it was, I don't know, it was just luck, I think. So I got it and I was flying back to LA every week because I had rehearsals and shows here and I had shows in Nashville. Well, we were based in Nashville, but we were touring around. I was always flying back to Nashville and we were driving or flying from there. But like from that tour, everything else came.
Mm,
It's amazing like how that one got everything started for me.
that's awesome.
And especially like I don't know if you have been to Nashville, but like I learned so much. I was very, very green, and I always say this, like I had no experience. I was very attached to the MI mindset that I needed to have charts in front of me. My ear was not developed. I was a very slow learner. In Nashville, although I don't really love country music, it made me be on my toes. I had to like learn really fast and then get all the songs to memorize. It was great for me. It was a year where I learned a lot.
That's
But
awesome.
everything else came from that gig.
Nice.
It's it's crazy, yeah, when you
Yeah,
see it back.
yeah. I haven't been to Nashville, unfortunately yet, but maybe that'll change in the next few months.
Well, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very fun. It's a fun city. I lived there. I tried to stay there after my tour finished, but I didn't feel included. It's a like for an immigrant woman musician, it's not a very easy town to be in.
You think so?
Um, yeah, that's at least that's how I felt it. Like I tried to get auditions after my tour with that band finished, and I couldn't.
Hmm.
And then the guys were actually pretty straightforward. They're like, "Hey, we want a guy that we can drink beer and then get drunk with." And I was like, "Great!" And then they wouldn't even audition me for it.
Uh,
So I got really tired of it. I was like, "Nah, I want to go back to LA because LA felt like home to me."
yeah. You didn't have
Yeah.
that kind of problem at LA.
No, LA is like they love you for who you are. You do your thing, and then as long as you're
Hmm.
not bothering anybody,
Yeah.
yeah. But over there is a little different. I have great friends there still, but definitely don't want to go back living to live there anytime
Yeah.
soon.
No, that's so how do you manage your time like currently?
So since quarantine, the first 2 weeks I didn't do anything because I was kind of a little depressed. Uh, Yeah, I don't know if it happened to you too, but like all my work got canceled. I had a breakup a few weeks before quarantine, so I was already sad about that. And then I had no work, and I was like, oh God, my life is over.
Oh,
But yeah, but 2 weeks into it, like I was like, okay, I can cry in my sofa and then be sad about it, or I can try to do something a little bit something good, right? So I did like a schedule.
hmm,
So like I'm practicing music every day, I'm working out, I'm trying to write something every day, even if it's a lick or corporation, something that makes me feel creative. And I'm trying to do like a fitness company that I was trying to start before. So I'm working on that right now as well because
okay,
I want to get it started. So I'm just doing stuff that I feel could be productive for me,
sure.
you know?
Tell me more about this fitness company.
So Gymshark, like Athlete,
Yeah.
I love working out. So like I have always had a dream of having like like a fitness clothing line. Yeah, so I'm just starting little by little. It takes time, but I made my logo and like I'm figuring out like how to order and then start testing the fabric and stuff. So it's little by little, but I'm working on it.
That's
Hopefully
interesting.
next year will be a thing.
So I started this thing called Apparel for the Thriving Artist, ATA.
Very cool.
Yeah, like a couple of years ago, and I sort of put it on pause because there's just like I have all this like this show and like
Yeah,
my band and a few other things going on that I just didn't have the
it's too
time.
much.
Yeah, it was just too
Yeah.
much, and I couldn't really put the focus on it that it deserves. But
Mhm.
what I did was I did it drop shipping right at first.
Okay.
So I used I think Printful.com. Yeah. And on that website, kind of me. I mean, it was a kind of a high price that I would have to pay for each shirt, but it would be one off, and I
Okay.
didn't have to order anything in advance. It would
Oh,
just be
that's
print.
good.
Every single one would be printed and sent directly to the customer.
That's amazing though,
Yeah.
because the one I'm looking into is different. It's like you order in like bulk,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you ship. So
Right.
I'll look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look into it. So I did that, and then I sort of built a Squarespace website with that. I got I got a designer to kind of help me with the logo, and then what it
Mm.
is like. Actually, this is the logo right here,
Oh, I like that logo.
and that's
Yeah.
the website ata.world, which is down currently. Um, dot world. You like that?
That world. That's a hard word for me. World.
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 It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Um, so, but the idea is like, like, and this is just kind of my own musing on this, but like, you have that logo right here
Hmm.
on the shirt, and then right under that, where that says ATA.world, it would be like different mantras and
Different what?
mantra,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, and
I
so
love mantras.
yeah, and so the mantra, like I have one that's failure, I have one that's like have a vision and things like that. So
Oh, very
yeah,
cool.
yeah, and so like that's something that like I was thinking, okay, it's something that like gives you this something to focus on while you're wearing it, and
Yeah.
I made them like quality shirts. They're tri-blend,
Yeah.
yeah, and so they're like fitted, they feel nice, they make you feel good and make you like inspire you to do your best work or whatever. So that was like the
I
the
like that.
the whole vision I had behind it. I'm not selling it very well right now, but like that's
But it's there. The potential is there,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
And so I've actually sent it to some guests in the past when I had it running. And
Yeah.
so, if I fire it back up, I'll let you know and I'll send you some.
Yeah, I would love to wear it. That
Yeah,
would
but
be
no,
so fun.
but about your company, did you order shirts yet?
So no, I'm still trying, like the logo and all that stuff, it's ready. I'm just trying to figure out because they need to send you a sample and then it takes time. Everything is coming from Asia right now,
Okay.
which it's taking time because of COVID and all those
Yeah,
regulations and stuff. But you try, you test it, and then you ship back, and it takes a while.
it does.
It's not a very, especially when it's like fitness clothes, you want to make sure that it's good quality and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's taking time, but I would love to because like I don't want to be touring forever. Although I'm never gonna stop playing music, but I don't want to be 30, 40 and just, being late because it's very tiring though on your body. And then if you want to have a family eventually, how are you gonna have a family and then go away for a year?
Yeah,
It's not really,
it's not realistic. Yeah. It's not. I mean,
No.
like if you do it once in a while, you can actually take your kids with you, and it's an experience.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, you need to have something, and this is a big topic on this show, passive income, and having some kind of like,
Yes.
um, some business or something you've built up. Like this last person I had on my show has a subscription lesson base for base on his website. So he has like this database
Oh,
um,
very cool.
to where people can pay $9 a month and then get access to these video lessons. You
I
know,
like that.
yeah, and it's
That's
really
very
good.
smart.
It's like a big library of lessons and stuff, and it's great. And people subscribe, and you don't need much. You don't need much people. I mean, that's like, how much do you need to like live off of that? Like, I don't know, maybe 300 members, and then like
Exactly.
there you have
Yeah,
like,
passive income
yeah,
is the best income though. When
yeah,
you don't have to be, especially now, like like if all your money comes from touring and then now the touring scene is stopped, then you're in trouble.
yeah,
And my mom always told me that's why I also got the PT, and it's another source of revenue, and
yeah,
if you need it, it's there.
yeah.
Passive income is the best. Everybody should have something on the side for sure.
Yeah, and there's so many ways to do that today, right?
Yeah,
Musicians have
absolutely.
done that in a lot of different ways. For example, like one thing Haken has done a lot of is limited edition merch, right?
Yeah.
Which is a fun thing because and I have one of their limited merch. I have like trousers. I have their like it's like sweatpants with like Haken
Very
down the
cool.
side, and yeah,
People love merch and people love
yeah,
clothing. That's something, it's like food. It's something they're always gonna, you
yeah.
know,
On,
buy.
on that, on like on merch again, like Tosin. Well, not just Tosin, but like his, and I love the way he operates from a business perspective. And when he's doing like having a guitar company, I mean that's huge, and that's a huge
That's huge.
commitment too. But besides that, have you ever seen Animals as Leaders T-shirts? They
I haven't seen the t-shirts actually.
they're they look like Gucci shirts. Like
Oh,
they're like they're shirts that you would wear whether or not you know who the band is,
oh, very cool. I
because
like that
they're
kind of clothing.
it's quality shirts. Like because a lot of bands or artists will make these like simple Gildan shirts
Yep.
that like are just so basic.
Yeah.
You
No, yeah,
know,
exactly.
like I'm wearing this because I support this. Um,
Fractal.
Fractal, yeah, I have my XFX right there. I'm using it as my interface right now. Um,
Very cool.
yeah, but it's a fitted shirt. When at this point, I only wear fitted shirts because I have a pet peeve of shirts that come out like that.
Yeah, me too. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Mm.
Once you start to lift, you don't want to wear ill-fitting clothing.
I know. I completely understand what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
And another band that makes really good merch is Consider the Source.
Oh, oh, I don't know that band.
Oh, they're really
I'll check
good.
them out.
Their bass player is one of the best bass players I know.
Wow.
John Ferrara. Yeah, I was watching him jam with Victor Wooten. Uh,
Man,
yeah, yeah,
amazing.
yeah. He's an awesome bass player. We hung out on many occasions. I've interviewed him before I had this show, and hopefully, be interviewing him soon on this show as well. I interviewed him before I even knew I wanted to interview people.
That's how awesome he is.
Yeah, it was
You
like
needed to talk to him.
yeah, it was like 2 years before I had the show. But his band does something very interesting. They do this thing called health touring.
Oh, health?
Health touring. So when they're on tour, they're a trio and they're all vegan.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's
Yeah,
my kind of band. I need to
yeah,
check them out.
yeah. And they're an amazing instrumental trio that plays sci-fi Middle Eastern fusion. That's like virtuosic. It's
Oh my
prog.
God.
It's
That sounds really good.
yeah. You have my taste, so you know they're good.
Yeah, I know, I know. I'm sure I'm gonna like it. Yeah.
They're really good. So Gabriel, actually in the band, Gabe, he plays this double neck, where it's like one normal neck and then the other one's like a fretless, and
I,
he
wow.
studied in India, and so he knows all these crazy Indian scales, and
Yeah.
like he plays these wild phrases on this MIDI guitar Then he plays like these like different instruments on it. It's insane, and it's like
That's amazing.
fretless. Yeah,
I have always wanted a fretless guitar.
yeah,
Actually, I saw it because I love G&L. They were really kind to me, and then they loaned me a Telly, the Telly that I have right now.
yeah.
And then I saw that they built a fretless bass, and I was like, oh, I have always wanted to try. I know it will take a lot of commitment on my part to like be decent at it.
Yeah.
I haven't bought it because of it, but it's another level. Have you seen Guthrie play?
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
fantastic.
God. Guthrie's
It's like
not human.
I know, and he just plays it like it's nothing. It's like, oh yeah, I can do it on the fretless too. It's like great.
Yeah, no, he's ridiculous on the fretless. There's like one video
Yeah.
online where he's like jamming with this other guy, and he has
I
like
have
a
seen it.
VGA.
Yeah.
Yep, yep,
Mhm.
yeah,
Crazy.
yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah, yeah. I want to try that guitar. It has like a brass neck or something.
Yeah, it looked very interesting.
Hmm.
Actually, yeah, I don't remember the brand.
I
I'm
think it's
spacing out.
VGA.
VGA, is it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a French
Okay.
guitar brand, I think. It's like it's spelled it's like Vigier, but it's like, it's a French word, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right about it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a very interesting thing. Um, One area, I mean, like I don't want to dig too deep into like wounds, but
Oh,
you mentioned
which type of wounds? There's so many wounds. Okay.
there are many wounds, yeah. But as far as like, you said you broke up in a relationship in like beginning of the
Oh,
year. Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. Eh,
thank you.
what did it have to do with tour life?
No, actually, if because some friends have asked me like, "Hey, what happened?" I really still don't know. I
Yeah.
wish I could tell you why we broke. Yeah, I don't. I wasn't expecting it to end, and then I still up to this day I don't know what happened.
Oh, that's like lack of
He's an
closure.
amazing kinda. I still don't feel I have closure. I'm working on it every day. He's an amazing human musician. Like I look up to him so much, but he suffers from depression and stuff, and he's dealing with a lot of stuff.
Mental health. Have you ever
It's a biggie.
have you ever
Yeah.
suffered with that?
No, but like actually, I have never felt the pressure, but this breakup gave me a lot of anxiety. So
Mm.
in March, I was telling you like I had to go to the urgent care twice because like I just had like asthma attack with a panic attack.
Wow.
Couldn't breathe. I was actually playing at church, and then like I was just like my vision was blurry. I couldn't breathe. I was turning purple. I'm like, okay, you need to take me to the doctor.
Wow.
It's yeah, but I don't suffer from it. So that actually, I think I was married once,
Yeah.
and then my ex-husband, he also suffered from depression. So I had an idea when I started dating him, kinda. But he's
Hmm.
such a happy person that for me, like, I don't understand how he can be such a happy and then still have all this stuff inside.
Right, right. Did he by any chance
Yeah.
work at the Mesa Boogie store?
My ex-husband, yeah, I remember you texted
Yeah.
me when you met him, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah.
we were already
Oh, I see.
our separate ways then. Yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah, but
but
no, it
mhm.
wasn't because of touring.
Yeah. Well,
No,
the
sorry.
reason I bring the subject up was not to like, put salt in wounds or anything, but
No, it's not nothing like that.
but as far as like when you're touring, and I have this conversation often of how like that plays itself, plays into, be in the relationship, because it's hard as for musicians. They need to sort of understand they need to be with someone who is either very independent or can be,
Yeah.
or themselves like do the same thing, like they also travel for work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, I have never dated somebody who's not a musician.
Okay.
Even this last guy, he's a musician, so he was the most supportive. He was very different from my ex-husband because remember I told you that I had like problems with music related to personal issues? It was because my ex-husband was making me feel that I was not a good musician. He was actually
No,
telling me, "Hey, you're just getting these gigs because you're a girl." And that
that's
coming
messed
from
up.
the person you married is pretty messed up. So
Yeah.
like that took my whole confidence out and I didn't want to play music anymore. And then this guy is the opposite. He would tell me like he admired me and he was completely supportive. Um And yeah, he's an amazing musician. I supported whatever he did, and he did on me. But definitely, like, I don't know. I think for most musicians that I know, we struggle a lot with loneliness, right? Like, it's really hard to
Mm,
like hold on to like relationships and stuff.
yeah,
That's why I want to like have a different, not a different career, but I don't want to be touring for too long, you know. I definitely
sure.
want to have a family eventually.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I hear that.
yeah. Eventually. I don't know. I don't think it will be anytime soon because I'm still touring whenever this thing reopens, but
Yeah.
it would
Well,
be good to know that I can be home, you know, with my
yeah.
family.
Do you think things are gonna come back like fully fledged? Let's say by like next spring, like where people are touring as much as they were.
Well, I don't know if you have seen, but a lot of big artists have scheduled like their tours to reschedule for next spring actually.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like especially it's just really weird because like people are saying, "Hey, you can go back and work," but cases are going up. So like how are you going to have a stadium full of people, you know, when there's still no vaccine and then there's still a lot of people getting sick?
I heard this
So,
weird thing where they're like they restarted like some sports. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was like football or
soccer?
something. Soccer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Today. No. Yes, Sunday. Real
Yeah.
Madrid.
Wow. Yeah. I'm like, but that's the thing. Like they're doing this, but while social distancing somehow, or like
Yeah.
I think they did like some other sport where they put a dome. You know,
A dome.
a dome like
Oh
over
my
the
God.
oh yeah yeah like I don't know it sounds really strange. I didn't look into it enough, you know, that I didn't inquire
I
because
need to look into that.
yeah it's interesting. Well, how do they do the soccer thing? Do they like
They're playing with no audience.
right.
So that's easier. And you know, in a way, we have been doing it. We have been doing like live shows. It's just is like soccer players get paid, right? They're not gonna do it for exposure.
Mm-hmm.
There's this problem that musicians have, and that's why I'm not fully supportive of the whole live streaming shows during the quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do it once in a while, but I had this issue with my band now because they have been doing it every day.
Mm.
And I told them like, hey, I don't agree because like these companies, like whiskey companies, beer companies are asking us to play, but they're fully working, but they're not paying us. So I'm
Wow.
like, I don't support that, you know.
No.
So I told them, hey, if you girls want to do it, and they have been doing it by themselves, I don't think we need to support that as musicians. We need to be like, hey, we're like any other profession, you know.
Yeah,
If we're
yeah,
working, we need to get paid, you know.
of course I totally agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's like very militant. He's like a militant activist musician on Facebook, and he's talking about like musicians need to get paid. Like you know, like
I like him. Yeah.
he's calling out places that make people play for free for
Yeah.
exposure. You know,
I hate
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, it's
Yeah, it's
bad.
terrible.
It is.
I have done it. Like when I went out, like after MI, a lot of my gigs were free because I needed the experience. It
Yeah,
was something I needed, but people take advantage of it, you
yeah.
know.
Oh
They
yeah.
know like, hey, there's always gonna be somebody who will play for nothing or very cheap, and then if you don't put your foot down, it's like they're gonna take advantage of you,
That
you know.
yeah yeah. Just that kind of labor is not a good labor. Yeah, for sure.
No, I hope things get back to normal next year, hopefully. We
Hmm.
were hoping that Coachella and then Stagecoach would happen, like big festivals that, because we got booked for some of them and they were hopefully to be about the end of the year, but everything got canceled now.
Yeah.
So it's really sad. Like I have been talking to my band today, like we're gonna be doing like some bar gigs, which I'm not a big fan of it. But it will be playing live. They want to do it. I don't know how I feel yet. I said yes, but I don't know. I'm still trying to.
I
I
guess
don't know.
you do the first one, you see how it goes, and yeah.
Exactly. And also, like, I don't know if you know, but Orange County now doesn't require a mask.
Oh, really?
So me having an asthma issue, I don't feel comfortable going to a bar when people are gonna be like freely, you know.
Mm.
So I don't know. It's a lot of stuff to take in consideration,
Yeah,
but
that's interesting. Yeah, you are more
yeah,
susceptible because of the asthma, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. We start next Sunday, actually, the 21st. It's our first gig back, and it's
Hmm.
actually a drive-in. It's gonna be a fun, interesting gig. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's interesting. 5G technology, right? So
Yeah.
So
Oh,
and and I'm not going conspiracy theory.
no,
That
no,
no, no. It's like that's what
no, no,
caused
no, no.
COVID. No, no. I can't take that seriously. I'm sorry, but like,
I know.
I so
Insane.
but
I don't
the
even know how some people think that it's like so.
some people
Yeah.
think the Earth is flat.
I know. I'm very glad about the launching that they did a few weeks
Yeah,
ago because you
yeah.
can clearly see it, and they're probably going to be saying like, "Oh, it's the angle or
Oh
something." They're
yeah,
going to
oh
come up
yeah.
with some sort of excuse.
No,
These people are just
I am very glad that Elon
crazy.
Musk is like still going ahead doing his thing, and taking us further while there are many people dragging us backwards. So it's a good
I
idea,
know.
you know. Or maybe he's like, I want to get the hell off of this planet.
I would like to actually. When those astronauts left, I'm like, you guys. It was right before the riots and the protests started, and it's like, oh, they were really lucky. You know?
I'm gonna ask you a question I have never asked on the show. Um,
Yeah.
Space flight becomes commercially viable and is tested enough, and it comes down to
Yeah.
a decent, like not overly expensive rate. Let's
Okay.
say under 10 grand for a trip.
Okay.
You're gonna do it?
I would totally go.
I would go too.
Absolutely. Actually, we watched, I don't know if you have seen Ad Astra is with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, yeah,
It came out, I think, last year. The movie's horrible. I didn't like it. But they have that. They have commercials fly with
right.
Virgin Atlantic.
Yeah,
And I was telling my brother's like, I wouldn't go. And I'm like, wait, you wouldn't go? Like, I go to space? Like, like when I saw this astronauts leave, it's like you realize how really small you are and your problems are so tiny. It's like,
yeah,
we're all worried about stuff, and it's like, yeah, you're so tiny. It's like there's a whole universe out there. I would totally go in a heartbeat
yeah, yeah.
for sure.
I think Virgin takes you to like above like where planes normally go, and then you can see the curvature of the Earth, and you can see the blackness, and
Yeah,
like, oh man, and then zero G.
exactly.
Yeah,
It will
that.
be an amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would totally do it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hope maybe we can experiment it in our right. That should be a thing.
I think
Like
within,
20 years, 10 years.
I think within 10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exciting. We live in an exciting time.
yeah, yep, yep, yep. Yeah, for sure. And and to get us to the point that we can comfortably go, passive income,
Mm, passive income, yes,
passive,
exactly.
yeah. So you don't have to worry about touring when you're going to space. Um,
Yeah. Well, this has been, I think, especially for musicians, has been a lesson.
of
Like I
course.
used to be like that in 2017. All I did was music, and it's like if this would have happened then, I would have been completely screwed.
Mm,
So I think everybody can learn from it. It's better to have a few different things going around than just putting everything.
yeah,
You still need to like invest yourself, but you
of
definitely
course.
passive income is a huge.
The way I like to break it down is kind of like, yeah, have you ever read Robert Kiyosaki?
No.
So there's a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Okay,
which
I'll need to read that.
yes, very very good book. There's a lot of great books in that vein I can share with you. But like
Yeah.
the Rich Dad Poor Dad talks about four different ways of making money, right? He talks about he calls it the cash flow quadrant, and
Okay.
on one side you have E and S, and on the other side you have B and I, right? So
Okay.
an E stands for employee. That's somebody who gets paid for their time. Okay,
Yeah.
right? Someone who trades their time directly for money. And obviously, there's a cap to that because you only have so much time. No matter how much you
Yes.
charge, you know, you're trading time for money, which is not the best trade, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the small business, which is S, which is
Okay.
still very much intensive, where you're sort of like you become your own boss and sometimes your own
Yes.
employee, and then you have to
Mm.
like constantly grind, and you're still kind of largely trading time for money. And then
Exactly.
yeah, and then the business grows and you can scale it, and then you have employees and such, and then you go to the B side, which is
Okay.
big business, right? And then I is investor.
Oh, very cool.
Right. So he's like, you got to shift from the S side to the B and I side, right?
Yeah.
Either a big business or investment, but it doesn't have to be necessarily big, right? Because like there's a book, 4 Hour Workweek, right, by Tim Ferriss. Do you know Tim
I
Ferriss?
haven't read it,
Yeah,
no, but I I love reading, so this is great.
Yeah, yeah. So it's 4 Hour Work Week. It's a phenomenal book, and it's a 2004 book, and it's revised earlier in this decade. And it's still completely relevant. He talks about different ways of like outsourcing stuff. Like you said, you're talking to Asia about sending stuff over here. So outsourcing
Yeah,
some kind of production and things like that.
yeah.
But also, actually, like one of my guests, actually, that Rusty guy, who's telling me he has
Mm.
a VA, a virtual assistant, and
Oh,
and so he's employing somebody for a good wage in their country, so in Philippines, on
wow.
onlinejobs.ph.
Online. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Maybe I
so
should check that.
you should check that out, right? So if you can't handle your social media, you can hire
Find
somebody.
somebody.
Yeah, and
Very
just
good.
someone who can help like take content and like a video edit for you, and maybe work on the account a little bit. Um, and so I mean, it comes out to like maybe $300 or $400 a month for somebody who's working 40 hours a week.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah,
But it's a good wage in their
yeah,
country.
exactly. They're like graduates and they want these jobs. Like you're giving them a good working wage. It's not like you're lowballing,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, and
That's good.
so it's a win-win. Um, and so so that's a great thing. So outsourcing and like all these things. And so another thing he talks about in that book is how to take your business and remove yourself.
That's the best part of it, right?
Yes, yeah, because you
When your
can become
business can still be profitable without you being completely on it.
that's what moves you from the small business to the big business is when you can start
Yeah.
to grow and automate growth and remove yourself from the equation. So because we're bottlenecks to our own business, right? Because
Yeah.
if we only have so much time in our day, and if we have to answer everything, and we have to like be,
Yeah.
you can't be the answering person all the time, right? You have to
No.
outsource that so you can sort of scale it. Like you need to hire a boss.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
I need
So
to read this book.
yeah, yeah. There's many great such books, right? But that book in particular, very very good book. Um, there's a book on travel actually that book was first based on because what he did, he actually traveled. Tim Ferriss traveled for like a year and a half while his business growed without him, right? And he just spent the time traveling. Um,
That isn't that the goal? I think that's
yeah,
what you and I want, right?
yeah.
Just like leave and travel and then just still have income home.
That's exactly what you and I want. Yeah, for sure. Like that's that's the whole thing. That's the goal, right? And in order
Yeah.
to make that happen, well, for one, you can like I've been teaching guitar online, right? So
Good.
that is a active income, but at least I can do it anywhere,
Anywhere, yeah, exactly.
right? And then maybe one way to scale that, but still investing the same time is to get multiple students in one group, right?
Oh, group classes, yeah.
Yeah, group classes, like Zoom workshops kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But then of course, having like subscription based service, like where you have a lot of good videos online or a Udemy
Yeah.
course, so you could write a course and then sell the course on these course websites,
Actually, that's
Coursera.
big. That's the biggest, like, I think one of the biggest sides that an social media influencer can make money though, with
Yeah.
some sort of course or like for PTs, it's like giving workout
Yep.
programs and stuff like, or online coaching. I used to do online coaching and it pays great and you do it from your couch. You just need a computer and it works out great though.
Yeah.
So absolutely, yeah.
I just I wrote a small book, and so
Oh,
yeah,
wait, about what?
it's
Music?
so I think the tentative title is 8 Habits That Will Set Up a Musician to Thrive.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah.
I need to read it. Yeah.
And it's a really short read. It's only 18 pages, right? But
Oh,
it's very dense. So
okay.
like it's like a rereadable 18 pages. I wanted something that isn't too long because most
Yeah.
musicians aren't going to read something too long.
Yeah, some of us don't. I love to read, but I know
Yeah.
a lot that they're afraid of books. I'm like, that's the best way to grow, you
Yeah,
know?
that's right.
Actually, I read an amazing book. I don't know if you have read it, The Four Agreements.
Yeah.
A friend
I've
of
read it.
mine recommended me, and it blew my mind. It's so tiny,
Yeah.
and there's so much wisdom in that tiny book. And I'm like, how can something that small change your completely vision of everything, you know?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I want to read it. When are you releasing it?
Well, I have an editor working on it, so
Okay.
hopefully soon. Yeah. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it away for free. Uh,
Oh,
well, for free. Well, here's the catch: for a subscription to my email list, right?
very cool.
And so I mean that's a hint there, right? So
Yeah.
it's like it's free, but that
Yeah.
building an email list is very important.
It's huge. Yes.
Yeah, because you don't want people don't realize that, like, okay, you can get your following on social media and stuff, but then what happens if, like, people move away from that, or whatnot?
Yeah.
You can't solely live on social media. You need to collect people in your own platform.
Exactly. Yeah. That is very smart.
Yeah, and especially if you do something that's a little edgy, right? Like, if you're one of these people who, like, maybe political or something like that, then it's super
Yeah.
important to collect your tribe, because, like, you can be deplatformed or whatever, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I try to keep it very neutral. Like I think every on Facebook, like because like I don't really care about it. I'm pretty, more honest about it. But on social media,
yeah,
I try not to be like political side, although people know who
yeah,
I hate,
yeah,
like, that's the thing. But
yeah.
yeah, it's tough though, like especially on social media.
Yeah, I'd be careful, like, cause, like, even on Facebook, like, cause Facebook owns Instagram, so, uh,
I know it's
yeah,
I don't really like it. Like that's why I try not to post because it brings a lot of negativity. People just like it doesn't matter if what you're saying is something funny, and it doesn't matter. It just opens that kind of worms.
yeah.
And I don't want to start my day fighting with some random dude in the middle of nowhere. It's like that's not
it's
fun.
you know it's hard to say the right thing, because it's
Yeah.
like you could say something that just you can't even imagine it being interpreted negatively,
Somebody will,
but
for
then
sure.
it could be the most positive thing, but then timing of posting it, like, could be like, let's say you had the most positive thing to say, but you posted it last Tuesday.
Oh God, yes. I
Okay,
know.
okay, so, like, like, it's hard to stay out of the line of fire, right?
Yeah. And right now everything
Yeah,
is controversial. Like you can't I was
yeah,
telling my brother, like you can't really say anything without offending somebody, which is it's not a good place to be, because like even though there are really big problems that we have to fight,
yeah.
everybody still like they still have their own opinion and we still need to be mindful of it.
We do.
But it's hard right now to like balance that.
It's important to maintain conversation, because once conversation
Yeah,
shuts down, that's bad.
exactly. Yeah, I
Which,
agree.
so if, like, if you have to say something, you say it. It's better, but staying silent is also bad. Like, it's hard to know what to do, you know.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah, this has been
Mhm.
so frustrating. I even have friends that texted me like, I don't know what to post. And I was like, don't be afraid, like because like they didn't know what to say or like what to put on their social media. I'm like, whatever you do and say, as long as it's something helpful, you're doing something good.
Yeah.
But it can be very scary not know what to say or how to say it.
You see,
So yeah,
as we grow as musicians, we're growing as influencers, and we're growing as people
yeah,
who have a booming voice on the internet that affects and reaches people. And
yeah,
so with that, we have a growing responsibility to,
exactly.
you know what I'm saying? To, like, to
I do, yeah.
yeah, to have a, that's why, like, whenever, like, any kind of political thing happens, everyone who has, like, these hundreds of thousands, millions, or even tens of thousands of followers, they're
Yeah.
sort of like obliged to say something, comment, and,
Yeah.
the more,
Actually, I saw a
yeah,
lot of, sorry for interrupting you. A lot of influencers were complaining that their fans were complaining that they were not saying anything. And like they were trying, and I support in this, like not the biggest things you're gonna do, you're not gonna put on social media. You know what I mean?
yeah.
When you're reading a book that is like helping you understand racial problems, most of the people are not gonna post a picture about it. So like I don't really think they need to like be so demanding on others people's reactions. That's kind of like selfish, I think, in a way.
It's very tough, because, like, there's a mixed bag. Some people are genuinely offended, but then there's people who kind of go along on that ride of,
Yeah, on the wave, the social
yeah,
media wave.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then there's all kinds of issues on all ends. I'm not putting uh, particular finger in anybody, but
Yeah.
it's so messy right now. It's like,
I know. That's why I don't open Facebook. I don't want
yeah,
to because it's all it's all and now the elections are coming. So
yeah,
that's even putting more worse stuff on there. And it's like I like Instagram because you can still see music videos, you can still people working out. I don't see that on my Facebook. Everybody's complaining and I understand why they're complaining, but it makes my anxiety get worse.
do you
And
think
no.
do you think people, like, in this modern era where most people have food taken care of, most people have
Yeah.
like their basics taken care of, where actually if you look at the actual statistics from the beginning of this century, 20 years ago, we've like cut world hunger in half or even more, like things are in some ways better than ever.
Improving.
It,
Yeah.
right. And yet we've and I forgot what person said this, but like I think it was this philosopher in the 19th century. I think someone would correct me here in one of the comment sections, but um, that it's like that when we won't have a utopia, because the minute everything is too good, we're going to intentionally fuck it up in order to just make things interesting, right? And so
Yeah.
it seems like we're in that year where we're
Absolutely.
just like let's toss up everything in the air and just like and see what happens, you know.
Yeah.
It
It's
seems that way.
well, literally because everything this year has been just a big have been huge issues, but like they have been boiling for a while. At least that's
Yeah,
how I see it. Like this racial
yeah.
problem that we have,
Oh
it
yeah, that's
didn't
ongoing.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
been years. Like I came to the States in September. It's gonna be 10 years, and
Mm-hmm.
there's racial problems with all kinds of different races in the U.S.
Sure.
With Latin people, with Muslims. Like it's not like all going towards the Black community, but
No.
they're suffering a lot. And then the good thing is right now everybody has a phone, so
Mm.
everybody can see easily what is going on. When before, like if you were not there, you wouldn't know. About
Right.
or you didn't read about it, you wouldn't know what was happening.
I'm glad for that. I'm glad that things are being
Me
documented and
too.
exposed that
Yeah.
shouldn't happen. But yeah, I mean, everyone suffers. Oppression is not limited to a few. It's really kind of, yeah, everyone's
Yeah.
been through some level of
Yeah.
discriminatory thing. I mean, in fact, like my personally, my own family, we immigrated from Moscow, from Russia,
Oh,
and yeah, and when I was born there, we fled. We were refugees,
wow.
because they were mistreating. Like I was born, to a Jewish family, and so it's like they were mistreating Jews, and it was, something we had to like run from, and we ran out of the Soviet Union, um,
Wow.
and so I think everyone is in some way, or knows someone, who's struggled in that kind of way, from some systemic issue and whatever. And the main thing I think is that we all kind of come together and realize that, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
We're all in this together.
Kind of. Yeah, I like that phrase. But at the same time, it's kind of, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. I think here, I think the major issue here though, like, is nuance. People cannot generally, like, if we're talking about scaling, like if you're like, if you want to send a message that reaches everybody, it loses all of its nuance. It's the
Exactly.
most simple, clear cut message, and that's problematic because some things are not only nuanced, but sometimes they're paradoxical,
Exactly.
right? They
No,
hold
no, no.
they
Yeah.
hold two opposite truths at the same time,
Yeah.
right? Um, but yeah, hopefully we can sort of. I think the only thing that individuals can do is learn more and tolerate, like tolerance and learn,
Yeah.
because the thing is, like I grew up in New York. I grew up in Brooklyn. Okay, and I grew up with friends of all kinds of races and backgrounds and everything, because it's a melting pot, right?
Yeah.
That's the nature
That's what
of.
I love.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
New York.
I grew up with that. It was normal for me. So
Exactly.
my best friends are like Asian and black and white and Spanish and Indian, whatever, right? Um, and I don't understand this, like, view that like this particular people are somehow lower. It's ignorant to me. Um,
I know. That's exactly what LA is. It's the exact
yeah,
same when you're like surrounded by it. You don't understand how can somebody discriminate like that way, you know?
right, right. But
I completely understand, yeah.
on the other side of the coin, imagine you grow up in a place where it's a very mono
Yeah.
culture and mono, just like in a lot of ways, people like don't have that diversity, and that ignorance is fueled, especially with just maybe some people's rhetoric that is just way off.
Yeah.
They don't inquire and they don't realize that there's people who've never met a black person, never met a Jew, never met whatever, right?
Yeah.
And they haven't like realized that, oh, just people are people.
Yeah, I think a lot it comes from fear, especially when you're saying you're in a place where it's very monopoly. Can that be a word? Like when there's just like one race around you.
Yeah, yeah.
If Yeah, so if you don't have enough, not education or information about others, like you can because I read about it, like the first thing that you feel is fear, and then fear leads to hate because you don't
Mm.
understand something, you
Mm-hmm.
don't quite understand what is happening. So like your reaction is to like, oh, I don't like it, I
Right.
hate it, I can understand what this is,
Mm-hmm.
but it's lack of education, and that's we thought like we knew this in my country when we came here. We knew that the college system here was great, but like somehow it's not the same for middle school and high school.
Mm-hmm.
There's like this really huge gap. Like, and I have been telling my family like, hey, if I'm ever lucky and I have a family and I have kids, I don't want them to go to an American high school because there's a huge gap of like, you know what I mean? Of like content
Yeah.
or like,
You know what it is? Like I would prefer like more of like a private school or a specialized school. Can afford it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that could be it. Yeah.
Passive
But
income.
the public school here is not like but it's lacking though, and that's a big problem. That's
Yeah.
why like a lot of people are
Yeah.
saying that they need to like, use the funds that were put it towards other, like
You know,
sectors,
I
put
was
it into education.
I yes, I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more. In fact, like I had this thought the other day. I was just kind of riffing with my roommate, and I was like, there's certain things that I would love have to have learned in school and not to have to like, seek out these really particular books that, teach you things that you're not even going to learn on a university level. Okay, like
Exactly.
what what are critical skills in life? How about dealing with your finances, right?
I know, exactly.
Right?
They don't tell you, and they
No,
don't teach you that.
no,
Important things that you need to know so you're a functional adult. And
right,
when you're like 18, 19 or whatever, like how to like, handle your finances. We learned that, me and my brother, the hard way.
right,
I wish like somebody would have told us, hey, this is how you do your taxes, and
right,
this will be great to start saving and not get into credit card debt. It's like,
right.
oh, that's
Exactly. Like,
helpful.
yeah, and instead, like right outside my college, like where I first went, there were I think Chase was right outside the college, handing out credit cards to 18-year-olds, you know,
Yeah, well,
and
it's convenient for them,
oh
if they
yeah.
don't know how to use it.
And
Yeah.
I had no financial education. My mother never used credit, and so I was like, oh, free
Uh,
money, and I just like spent it all like online the next day, like
oh.
yeah, and then I was like off for like a year. Yeah, no, but that's like
Oh my God.
with all the interest. Yeah, no. So financial
Yes,
education. How about
it's huge.
learning nutrition and how to feed yourself properly, right? That's
Especially here in
yeah.
this country, it's huge. I know there's a huge obesity problem.
Yeah, no,
I
we have a
know.
bad problem with our health that we could be. I mean, people just don't understand. They think that potato chips are a vegetable. Like,
Talking about Kansas. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Oh my God.
right. How about learning to cook? You know,
Yeah.
in Japan, I don't know about all schools in Japan, but I know there are schools in Japan that actually during the lunch period, instead of just going and eating lunch, they actually cook with the staff, and
Oh,
the,
that's a great idea.
yeah, that's amazing, right? They learn to actually cook. So, okay, so there's skills that should be taught. Like what's school for? It's to prepare you for life, I would presume, right?
Yeah. Yeah, those curriculums,
Yeah,
sometimes it's like, I don't know. But I agree. There needs to be some sort of reform,
yeah.
to make sure, especially now that the world has changed a lot.
Hmm.
Like technology and everything made it's huge. Like even the way we grew up, it's not the same way that kids are growing up right now.
Right.
So they need to keep it's like law in the US. It's stagnant. It's like it's not changing, but it should be changing every few years. Like, okay, what is happening? What are the problems that we have? And then try to adapt to it. But
Sure.
it's been like that for years, and then
Yeah.
there's no change in it.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem here,
Yeah. That is an issue for sure. I mean, one positive thing, which is sort of counteracted with a negative thing as well, but one positive thing is that this country has seesawed between left and right
Yeah.
for its entire, and I think that's how it became prosperous, and how we've come up together for all the problems we have. We really have a lot of prosperity. So you know,
Yeah.
and I think that can be attributed to some success in how our founding documents were put together, right? Um,
Yeah.
Now, the fact that, like, let's say someone who comes into office could undo some of the positive things put into place by the previous office is troublesome,
Yeah.
right? There should
It
be
is
some,
really
there should be
troublesome.
some like, okay, this is in place and that's it, and it should be hard
No.
to, to take that out, right? I'm not going to go into specific examples, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know. Yes, I do.
Yeah, everyone knows what I'm
Oh, the
talking
news are so worrisome. Yeah, I do. It's
about.
especially when it's like environmental issues.
Yeah.
I read one that it passed a few days ago that it's in Alaska. You probably heard about it. Um, like I don't want to get into it, but like they're changing a lot of regulations when it comes to environment, and
Okay.
that shouldn't even be a discussion. If
Right.
it's something that is going to affect, but the problem is that for some people, corporations and then the money side is more important than the
Mm-hmm.
world, and that's I don't think like I don't think I'm like from one side or the other. If somebody's doing something that is hurting our planet
Yeah.
and us, I don't think I don't think we should back that person up, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
It's like a multivariant problem. So if you're going to look at it in a
Yeah.
very like whole way, right? It's easy to write it off as something that's terrible, but then like it's a really nuanced thing that really needs to be a lot of attention and focus needs to be put on by smart people. um, but I think one of the issues in this country, I think Joe Rogan actually pointed this out. It's like
No.
it's either this way or this way, you
Exactly.
know?
I know.
It's like all the things in this direction or all the things in that direction, and it's
I know
like,
there's like no middle ground.
no, yeah, no, we're losing the middle. Like, things were a lot
Yeah.
more moderate, like even a few decades ago, and they've sort
Yeah.
of like veered extreme left and right, and it's
Yeah.
not
I don't
helpful.
think one or the other extreme anything extreme is not healthy on
Yeah,
any aspect of your life.
right, right. I
I
mean,
don't think
like
so, yeah.
politically, one end it's like a horseshoe, like they kind of meet. Like, oh, the
Yeah.
extremes are just they meet. You have like communism and fascism just like rubbing up against each
Yeah.
other. So it can be it's a tough thing, right? But I think
It is really tough.
one thing that's really important to realize, people don't read history enough.
I know.
Yeah. So if you don't know what happened before, how can you contextualize what's happening now? You know?
Exactly. I know. That's where it comes from education. Like
Yeah.
it's huge. The more you learn, that's why I love to read.
Yeah.
The biggest stuff I have learned, it's actually from reading books and not necessarily from school. Although we went to a private Italian school, so we had a good education growing up. But the biggest things I have learned have been from reading,
Right.
just picking up books, and then that's why I love every time you say like you need to read this book. Yes, give
Yes.
it to me. I'll read it.
Yeah, I'll give you a few
Read it.
dozen books to read.
Thank you. Like knowledge is power. The more you read, the more you know, the
Yeah.
better you're gonna be at everything you do,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. Yep. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. So, what,
No, you're not saying anything.
if you can share something to all musicians, what would it be?
Okay. Oh, that's hard. Uh, so I would say whatever you do, do it from an honest place. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like I think people tend to gravitate more towards musicians that are doing it because it comes from them. They're
Mm.
not trying to do it for a specific purpose,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I've noticed that. That's why Mateo's, I gravitate towards him because whatever he's doing it. Even when people were like saying that he was a bedroom guitar player, I don't know if you heard that. They were like saying bad things about him, like this guy's all he's in his room just playing guitar. Yeah, now he's this gigantic, probably the biggest figure. He's bigger
Yeah.
than most guitar players I know.
Yeah, I know.
You know, do
He's
it
really done well
from
for himself. Yeah.
yeah, but he did it because it was a way of expressing himself. He wasn't, I don't think he was looking out for fame,
Right.
you know. When
Yeah.
you're looking out for money or fame, I don't think we can see it. I think you can see it too.
For
Like
sure.
I like honesty. So like whatever you do, just do it because you enjoy it.
I think honesty is big. It's so big.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be honest
Yeah.
to yourself and honest to those around you. You know, and not do
Yeah.
things because everyone else is doing them.
I know there's people that put a persona, and I hate that. I
Right.
don't like when I see a person and I can't tell if it's that person or whoever they want the other person to see them as. It's
Right.
like that's not fun, you know.
No.
Whoever you're seeing me in my videos, that's me. Like
Right.
a messy person, you know, emotional mess.
You can only hold a facade for so long,
Exactly.
and then it falls apart and it just shatters everything. It's like glass. It just completely
It
falls
is
apart.
glass.
It is glass.
There's nothing in it. There's no substance in it. That's why, like, whatever you do, just do it from an honest place, you
Yeah.
know? And you will be happy, you know, because then you don't care what other people think.
Right. Because
People follow you, great. If they don't, great. I'm
right,
still happy.
if you did something that you think people would respond to and they don't respond to, then you know,
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, you feel
Just
like
look
hit
at
by,
it.
but if you were honest and you did what you're gonna do, who responds to it responds to it. It's just you. You're being you, and you know,
Yeah,
and if people don't like that, well, whatever. You're just being yourself. You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I'm usually pretty happy, you know.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely I feel down, but like I think that's one of the reasons why my mood doesn't change too much.
Hmm.
I don't really care.
Well, not caring is good. Like you know that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Like,
Yes, I need
yeah,
that's on my list to read.
yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah.
It's a good book. Mark Manson,
Yeah,
I
you
think.
need to send me this like this
Yeah.
list of books. I'm starting Big Magic with one of my friends.
Oh
Like
yeah, I read that
we
one a
want
few
to
years
start like
ago.
a book.
Uh
Oh,
huh.
it's good, right?
Yeah.
We want to start like a
Club.
book club for musicians kind of thing because
Oh
like what we're
yeah.
saying, like we suffer from a lot of like issues like
Oh yeah.
depression and anxiety.
Oh,
And
I'm
this
down for
book's
that.
like
Hmm.
right, see, it's super helpful. And I think
Yeah.
especially like dealing with a lot of personal stuff and issues, if you read self-help books, it will help you a lot
Yeah.
eventually in your career as well.
You want to do that? Let's start us off. Let's start a musicians book club.
Let's do it. My friend Chris and I already like kind of started. We got
Oh
Big
yeah.
Magic.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
so
Yeah.
we're like,
So like make a hashtag and I'll follow along.
we need to.
Yeah.
Great. I'll invite you over.
Awesome. Awesome. We'll do that. Um. Well, all right. It's been awesome. It's been awesome having
Thank you.
it. Yeah.
Alex, thank you. I haven't talked to you honestly, since 2018. It's
Yeah.
great to catch up with you.
It's definitely great. And where in California are you?
LA nor Hollywood,
North
but
Hollywood.
we're moving soon-ish. So,
You live
but
with your
still in
brother?
LA. Yeah, I'm living with my brother.
Cool.
So we actually found a house, which is very exciting.
Oh.
I know. So like big
Yeah.
stuff. I hope they
Yeah.
don't fall apart. You know, we'll see. Hopefully,
Yeah.
you know.
Fingers
Yes.
crossed.
But you're welcome here anytime you want to come to LA.
Sure. Yeah. I'll stop by.
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Have a good
Yeah.
one.